rally the world to act, and we should demonstrate it by our own movement to provide the helicopters to get those 21,000 forces of the African Union in there now to stop this genocide.
That's the Vice President-elect Joe Biden, Professor Mahmood Mamdani.
Well, I read the verbatim account of the Senate Foreign Relations Subcommittee on which Joe Biden sits, grilling Andrew Natsios, Bush's representative to Sudan. And Andrew Natsios was basically saying there is no genocide in Darfur. And they forced him, literally, compelled him to simply use that word, genocide. I think you're right that this particular vice president is enamored with wanting to show U.S. power in a humanitarian way. And what's worrying about it is of course, that we know that mortalities in Darfur declined dramatically from early 2005. We know that the Save Darfur campaign and its figures on mortality, 400,000, are simply not true. They do not reflect the reality at all. We know that the U.S., when it promised in 2006 to give $50 million for the African Union troops, did not give a single dollar. We know that there is a huge gulf between war talk and actual practice on the ground. I think this is one of the things Obama will have to confront, and one hopes that Biden, like other vice presidents, will simply be one small voice in the administration that's coming.
Let's talk also about the first position that has been named, Rahm Emanuel. I want to also go to Ali Abunimah. He is joining us by video stream from Chicago, co-founder of the Electronic Intifada and author of One Country, a bold proposal to end the Israeli-Palestinian impasse. Welcome to Democracy Now!, Ali Abunimah.
Thank you. Good morning, Amy.
Let's go to that first news out of the new Obama administration. By the way, President-elect Obama and Joe Biden are getting their first top-secret intelligence briefing today by the Director of National Intelligence. But what about yesterday's announcement that Rahm Israel Emanuel, the Chicago Congress member, very close to Barack Obama, has been offered the Chief of Staff position? You two are in Chicago.
Well, I thought it was quite ironic, since a lot of racists had tried to make an issue out of Barack Obama's middle name, Hussein, that the same kind of people might be happy with Rahm Israel Emanuel's middle name. And indeed, Emanuel is one of the most hardline supporters of Israel in the Congress and has been for many years. He's the son of Benjamin Emanuel, who actually was a gun runner for the Irgun, the Zionist, pre-Israel Zionist militia that carried out numerous terrorist attacks on Palestinian civilians, including the bombing of the King David Hotel. Of course, Rahm Emanuel himself is not responsible for any of that, but his record is sometimes far to the right of President Bush when it comes to supporting Israel. But I think the important thing here is not just the appointment of Emanuel, but the greater context here, which is that from the days we knew Barack Obama as a small-time politician in Illinois, I won't tell you, and I've never said that he was incredibly progressive on Israel-Palestine, but he was certainly more open-minded than he is now. And what he's done systematically throughout the campaign is to distance himself, or to throw under the bus, as the term goes, any advisor or friend who was suspected of having pro-Palestinian sympathies. In other words, he has succumbed to the McCarthyite and racist campaigns that says if you associate with even very moderate Columbia University professors, for example, or take their advice that's the biggest crime. So the signal he's sending here is that is not going to change, that people who could give him more balanced, more objective, more realistic advice that could change the course from the disastrous Palestine-Israel policies of the Bush and Clinton administrations, that's not going to happen. And that should be very, very worrying, because a lot of progressive people, a lot of people in the Middle East, a lot of leaders have pinned hopes on Obama being quite different on this issue. And I just don't see any evidence so far that that's going to be the case. And it worries me that people will stay silent rather than putting on the table now and loudly the demands for a more balanced, more objective, more fair policy that could bring peace for Palestinians and Israelis.
And you mentioned Columbia University professor, obviously referring to Raed Jarrar. The reaction of the Obama campaign to the attempts by some supporters of John McCain to link him to Jarrar, how Obama responded to that?
I think that I'm going to be very frank. I know that I agree with the other speakers that the euphoria and joy felt at Obama's victory is sincere and justified in terms of people's hopes and desire for something different. But I think Obama's reaction all along to the claims that he is that he's a secret Muslim or that he supports Palestinian rights has really been disgraceful. Rather than saying, you know, so what if I had been a Muslim, or so what if I listened to different advice? Our policies have been unbalanced and we want to take a wide range of advice. Instead of saying that, he's really played into the McCarthyism by saying, no, you know, I didn't know Raed Jarrar. Well, the fact is he was very happy to associate with Raed Jarrar and with the broader Palestinian American community for many years. What does it say? That the sorts of things he was prepared to do just a few years ago, he is no longer prepared to do, that he didn't visit a single Muslim community center or mosque or associate publicly with Arab Americans during the campaign. And it's not as if the day after the campaign, he started to send more conciliatory signals. On the contrary, there could not be a more provocative appointment than Rahm Emanuel if he wanted to send a signal that he's going to stick by a quite hardline pro-Israel policy.
Last June, on his first day as the Democrats' presumptive nominee, Senator Barack Obama addressed AIPAC, the American-Israel Public Affairs Committee.
Now, let me be clear. Israel's security is sacrosanct. It is non-negotiable. The Palestinians need a state. The Palestinians need a state that is contiguous and cohesive, and that allows them to prosper. But any agreement with the Palestinian people must preserve Israel's identity as a Jewish state with secure, recognized, defensible borders. And Jerusalem will remain the capital of Israel, and it must remain undivided.
That was Barack Obama last June. Ali Abunimah, you write a moving piece about watching Barack Obama over the years, from when you first met him as a state senator and what he meant to you then when you heard him speak at the University of Chicago.
Official. Acted as Israel's lawyers, people like Dennis Ross, people like Martin Indyk. These have been Israel's lawyers rather than U.S. officials being honest brokers.
Ali Abunimah, Ali, I just want to say we were playing the shot of Barack Obama. I don't know if you heard it speaking before AIPAC, the clip of him. We might not have heard what you said if you were speaking through that clip. But if you could talk about knowing Barack Obama for the last decade and then continue with what you were saying now.
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't know that the clip was playing. So, well, basically, the point I want to make is that Barack Obama has painted himself into a corner by appealing to the most hardline pro-Israel elements in this country by distancing himself from all advisors, even very mainstream establishment figures like